Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about that universal experience, food.
Yes, always a good topic.
Specifically, that unique blend of, excitement and maybe mild panic that can hit when you open a menu in a foreign language.
Oh, definitely. I think everyone's been there.
The feeling, that thrill of trying something new, but also the dread, maybe, of mispronouncing something or accidentally ordering, I don't know, liver when you really, really want a good steak.
Yeah, the dreaded liver surprise
Yeah.
happens.
Believe me, you are definitely not alone if you felt that. So, our deep dive today is all about demystifying the entire process. Ordering food in English.
hmm
We're going to try and equip you with the right linguistic cutlery, so to speak, for every course, right from making a reservation all the way to confidently settling the bill.
Getting that whole slow down.
Exactly. The goal is to transform every meal into an opportunity to practice, maybe shine a little, and truly savor the cultural experience. Remember, every little oops moment is just, let's say, extra seasoning on your learning journey.
I like that. Extra seasoning.
Think of this as your essential guide to not just eating, but truly communicating your way through an English-speaking restaurant.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that ordering food isn't just about the practicalities, survival, getting sustenance into your body, although that's important too.
Sure is.
But it's a vital skill for connecting with people, understanding social cues, and really immersing yourself in a new culture. It's about building confidence.
Confidence is huge.
And critically, avoiding that moment of information overload, right? Right when you need to make quick, clear decisions.
The menu arrives, everyone's looking at you.
Exactly. So we're going to arm you with those surprising facts, maybe those crucial aha moments, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you hooked so you don't feel overwhelmed by, all the information out there.
That's good.
Ready to become a master of mealtime communication and not just a silent eater.
Let's do it. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we even step foot in a restaurant, before we even think about that amazing smell coming from the kitchen.
Making me hungry already.
Right. We need to get equipped with the right words. Think of this as gathering your essential linguistic cutlery, understanding the kitchen blueprint, maybe, before the cooking even begins.
Good analogy. Laying the groundwork.
First up, let's talk about the people you'll encounter. Who's who in the restaurant? Understanding this really sets the stage for smoother interactions.
Absolutely. Knowing the roles helps.
So, at the very front, usually greeting you right at the door, you'll find the host or hostess.
Right.
Their main job is to welcome guests, manage the reservations, handle people walking in without one, and ultimately guide you to your table.
They're kind of the traffic controller at the entrance.
Exactly. They're the restaurant's first impression, the gatekeeper to your dining experience. Now, in more casual places, this role might be combined with the servers, but in most sit-down restaurants, the host sets the tone.
That's true. And once you're seated, the person who will be your main point of contact, taking your order, bringing your food, checking in on you, generally making sure your meal runs smoothly.
Your guide for the meal itself.
Exactly. That person is traditionally known as the waiter or waitress. However, and this is important for modern English speakers, what's truly fascinating is the increasing use of the term server.
Ah, server. I hear that a lot more now.
You do. It's widely used, it's gender neutral, and it's just a very common term today. It kind of reflects a shift towards professionalism and inclusivity in the service industry.
Makes sense.
And using server shows you're kind of up to date with contemporary language use, you respect those evolving social norms. It's a subtle thing, but it signals your awareness. It's a great example of how language changes, actually.
That's a really insightful point, and one that people might not consciously think about, but it makes a difference. So opting for server is generally a safe and respectful bet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and then behind the scenes, the genius crafting your meal, the culinary artist, the one making all that deliciousness happen in the kitchen, that's the chef.
The mastermind.
Absolutely. They're the master of flavors and presentation, and then there's you, the one who gets to enjoy it all.
The lucky one.
You're the customer, or maybe more politely and often preferred in slightly fancier places, you're the guest.
Right. Guest feels a bit warmer, doesn't it?
It does. It implies a more welcoming, hospitable environment rather than just, a transaction.
Precisely. It certainly does. It conveys that sense of being welcomed and cared for. Okay, so moving on to the place and the objects you'll interact with. The setting.
Right, the physical stuff.
The most obvious is the table. Standard dining surface where you'll be enjoying your meal. Pretty straightforward.
Can't miss that.
But sometimes, especially maybe in American diners or more casual spots, you might be offered a booth.
Yeah, booths are cozy.
They are. Those cozy, often more private seating areas, usually with benches instead of individual chairs. They can offer a more intimate or relaxed dining experience. So knowing to ask for a booth, if available, if that's what you prefer, shows you're kind of savvy about restaurant layouts.
Good tip. And of course, the document everyone waits for, the menu.
The map to deliciousness.
Exactly. Your comprehensive guide, the list of all the available food and drinks. It outlines all the culinary adventures waiting for you. It's where you make those crucial decisions.
Decision time.
And then, at the end of your meal, comes the moment of truth, the bill or the check. Now, this is where it gets, as you said, potentially confusing depending on where you are in the English-speaking world.
Exactly. This is a classic confusion point for learners. In the UK and lots of other Commonwealth countries, you'll ask for the bill. As in, could I have the bill, please?
Got it. UK, Commonwealth.
Whereas in the United States and Canada, you'll almost exclusively ask for the check. Like, could I have the check, please?
Check. US and Canada. Okay. Now, what's fascinating here is that, look, if you use bill in the US or check in the UK, it's not like it's a disaster. People will understand you.
Sure, they'll figure it out.
But using the local term definitely signals, hey, I've done my homework, you know? It shows respect for the local linguistic nuances. It's just a subtle sign that you're tuned into the culture.
A little bit of linguistic street cred. Exactly. And it raises that interesting question. Why do these regional differences exist for something so common? Often it's just historical linguistic divergence. Like the language and commerce evolved slightly differently.
Different paths.
Yeah. The term check in the U.S. probably came from the practice of giving a counter check, like a tally of items, to the customer. A physical receipt, basically.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
Meanwhile, bill in the UK just has a broader historical use as a written statement of charges. So it's a little peek into how language evolves with everyday practices. These regionalisms, they don't just add flavor, they remind us English isn't one single thing. It's this vibrant tapestry of regional variations, each with its own story.
That's a brilliant way to put it, a vibrant tapestry. Love that. And finally, related to the bill or check, we have the tip.
Yes, the tip, the gratuity you leave for your server.
Yeah.
And this is a huge one, huge, especially in places like the United States.
Crucial difference there.
It really is. In the U.S., it's almost never included in the price on the menu, and it's a critical part of a server's income. Often, it's the majority of their compensation, frankly.
Wow, okay.
Whereas in many parts of Europe, you'll often find a service charge already included on the bill. So the tipping expectations are very, very different.
Right, so you need to check the bill carefully.
Absolutely. We'll definitely circle back and cover the cultural importance and the practicalities of tipping in more detail later on. It's such a common point of confusion and, honestly, a significant cultural norm you need to understand to avoid awkwardness or, unintentionally causing offense.
Definitely need to cover that. Okay, let's talk about the meals themselves, understanding the typical course structure. It's pretty universal, but the terms can vary slightly. You usually kick things off with an appetizer or a starter.
Right. Same basic idea.
Yeah, smaller dishes, light bites. They're designed to, whet your appetite, get your palate ready for the main event. Think spring rolls, maybe a small salad, a cup of soup.
Gets things going. Then comes the star of the show, the main course,
A headliner.
which is also very commonly known as the entree, particularly in American English.
Yeah.
That's a bit counterintuitive for some people, as entree sounds like entrance or starter in French. But in the U.S., it means the main dish.
Ah, good point. Entree, main course in the U.S.
Yep. It's the primary dish of your meal, often the largest, most substantial part, where your whole meal is really centered around.
And alongside your main course, you'll often have side dishes, or people just call them sides.
The supporting actors.
Exactly. The accompaniments, things like French fries, a side salad, mashed potatoes, maybe some steamed vegetables, rice, they complement the main dish, and often you get choices for these.
Yeah, like the server might say, your steak comes with a choice of 2 sides.
Right. Mashed potatoes, grilled asparagus, or a side salad.
Yeah.
You get to pick. And now, here's where it gets really interesting, or potentially confusing pronunciation-wise. After your main course, if you somehow manage to save room,
A heroic effort sometimes.
it is. You move on to dessert, the sweet ending. Now, be careful not to mix up dessert with desert, unless you actually want like a sandy landscape on your plate after your meal.
Yeah, definitely don't order the desert.
We'll definitely dive into the pronunciation of this one later because it's a classic English learner's trap and one that can lead to some funny
A
misunderstandings.
very, very common one, absolutely. And of course, throughout your meal, you'll be enjoying a beverage or just a drink, anything liquid.
Water, wine, beer, soda, juice.
Exactly. And it's important to know how to specify what kind of water you want, maybe. If you just ask for water, you usually get tap water, which is generally free in places like the US and UK.
Good to know. Free is good.
But if you want something else, you might say, sparkling water, please, or bottled water,
Mm.
or still water if you want bottled non-sparkling.
Okay, clear options. Now let's talk cooking terms. Knowing these can make a huge difference in making sure you get exactly what you want, especially, as we mentioned, if you're ordering something like a steak. How do you like your steak cooked? That's a question you're almost guaranteed to hear.
It is.
Uh-huh.
And this is where precision really pays off. You want a satisfying meal, right?
Mm.
So for steak, you've got this spectrum of doneness levels. Being able to confidently state your preference means you won't be disappointed.
Lay it out for us. What are the levels?
Okay, starting from the least cooked, rare. This means the steak is very red and cool inside, cooked for a very short time.
Very red. Okay.
Then medium rare, still quite red in the very center, but it's warmer and there's more pink towards the edges. This is probably the most popular choice for many steak lovers. Lots of flavor, very tender.
Medium rare sounds good.
Medium. The inside will be primarily pink, cooked through a bit more, but still nice and juicy.
Pink, but less red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then medium well. Now you're looking at just a slightly pink center, mostly cooked through, just a hint of color left.
Almost cooked through.
Right. And finally, well done.
Mhm.
Cooked all the way through, no pink at all.
Yeah.
Often has a firmer texture because it's cooked longer.
Got it. Rare, medium rare, please, or well done.
Being able to just confidently say medium rare, please, or well done, or whatever your preference is, not only gets you what you want, but also shows the server, hey, you know the drill, you're familiar with dining etiquette.
Right. It avoids that awkward hesitation.
Exactly. And beyond steak, there are general preparation methods that describe how food is cooked. These affect the texture, the flavor.
Like how it's actually made in the kitchen.
Precisely. So you have grilled, cooked over direct heat, often leaves those characteristic char marks, gives a smoky flavor. Think grilled chicken, grilled vegetables, then fried. Cooked in hot oil. This can range from pan-fried, where you use just a small amount of oil in a pan, like for fish fillet,
Okay.
to deep-fried, where the food is completely submerged in hot oil. Think French fries, fried chicken. Much more oil involved.
Big difference there.
Then roasted, typically used for larger cuts of meat or maybe denser vegetables. Cooked in an oven with dry heat, often with some fat involved, which results in a nice browned, sometimes crispy exterior and a tender inside. Think roasted chicken or roasted potatoes.
Roasted veggies are great.
Oh yeah. Baked is similar, also cooked in an oven with dry heat, but we usually reserve that term for things like bread, cakes, casseroles, sometimes fish, things that might rise or solidify during cooking.
So you bake bread, but roast chicken.
Generally, yes. You wouldn't usually say roasted bread or baked potatoes is common, but roasted potatoes implies maybe more browning, often with oil. The distinction can be subtle, but it helps understand the dish.
Okay. What else?
Steamed. Cooked by steam from boiling water. Often used for vegetables, fish, dumplings. It's a very light, healthy preparation method. Keeps things tender, preserves nutrients.
Steamed broccoli, steamed fish. Very healthy.
Yep. Sautéed. This means cooked quickly in a small amount of fat, usually oil or butter,
Right.
over relatively high heat, typically in a pan. Great for thinly sliced vegetables or small pieces of meat that need to cook fast, but keep some crispness, like sautéed mushrooms.
Quick and hot.
Exactly, broiled. This is cooked with direct high heat from above, usually in an oven's broiler setting. It gives food a seared, caramelized, or maybe crispy top layer, think broiled salmon, or getting cheese on top of a casserole, nice and bubbly and brown.
Ah, heat from the top. Got it.
And one more complex one, braised. This is a combination method. You first sear the food at high temperature, get some nice color on it, then you finish it in a covered pot with some liquid, like broth or wine, at a lower temperature for a longer time.
Slow cooking, kind of?
Kinda, yeah. It's excellent for tougher cuts of meat, makes them incredibly tender and flavorful, like a braised short rib.
Wow, okay, that's a lot more depth than just saying cooked. Knowing those terms really helps you not just order, but understand what you're actually going to eat.
It really does. It paints a much clearer picture.
All right, armed with our extensive vocabulary now.
Our culinary toolkit.
Exactly. Let's actually step into the restaurant. We'll break down the whole experience into easy phases, just like a well-structured meal.
Step by step.
Phase 1, the arrival making your entrance. This is your first interaction, right? First impressions matter. Now, if you've been smart and planned ahead, you might have a reservation.
Always a good idea, especially on busy nights.
It makes things wonderfully simple and direct. You just walk in and say something like, "Hello, I have a reservation under the name, your name." For example, "Hello, I have a reservation under the name Smith for 2 people at 7 p.m." Be ready to maybe confirm the time and the number of people.
Clear and easy. But what if you haven't booked? If you're just walking in?
Perfectly common too, especially for casual dining or if you're just spontaneously trying a place out. In that case, you'll use polite request. You can say, "A table for 2, please." Simple.
Nice and direct.
Or, if you're a larger group, "Do you have a table for 3 available?" Or maybe even, "We're a party of 4. How long is the wait?" These phrases are simple, clear, and get straight to the point without sounding demanding.
Right. And if the restaurant is busy, they might offer you to wait. You could ask, how long is the wait, approximately? Or maybe, can we wait at the bar?
Good options. Let's run through a quick example dialogue for arrival. Imagine it's a slightly busy evening, say Friday night at the corner bistro.
Okay, setting the scene.
So you walk in, the hostess might say, "Good evening, welcome to the corner bistro. Do you have a reservation?" And you could reply, "Good evening. No, we don't have a reservation. A table for 2, please."
And the hostess might say, certainly. It looks like we have about a 15-minute wait for a table right now. Would you like to wait at the bar? Or I can take your name and call you when your table is ready.
And you'd say, 15 minutes sounds fine. We'll wait at the bar. My name is Jones.
Hostess, great. Right this way to the bar and we'll come get you when your table is prepared.
See? Pretty smooth. Even with a slight wait, a few simple phrases get you exactly where you need to be, and you understand the process. No panic needed.
Exactly. Clear communication.
Now for phase 2. Getting seated and ordering drinks, settling in. Okay, you're at your table now. Your server will usually come over within a few minutes, gives you a moment to settle in, maybe glance at the menu.
Right. And this is a highly predictable moment in pretty much any English-speaking restaurant. It's a great chance to feel confident because you know what's coming.
What should we expect them to say?
Well, knowing these opening lines lets you prepare your response, which can really reduce that initial stress, right? Your server will usually introduce themselves. Something like, "Hello, my name is Sarah, and I'll be your server tonight. Welcome to restaurant name."
Friendly welcome.
And almost immediately, they'll probably ask, "Can I get you started with something to drink?" Or maybe, "Are you ready for some drinks?" That's your cue to order your first round of beverages.
Okay, drinks first. And your phrases for ordering drinks are pretty straightforward. If you just need a moment to actually look at the menu or you're not sure what you want yet.
Totally fine to buy some time.
Yeah, you can simply say, "I'll have a glass of water, please," or even more casually, maybe to signal you need time. "Just water for me, for now, while I look at the menu."
Perfect. Simple, polite.
And practicality check. Sometimes you just need water to start, right? There's no shame in that. It gives you a bit more time to look at the menu, consider your options, and just generally settle in before making the bigger food decisions.
Absolutely. Takes the pressure off. But if you are ready to explore their beverage list, you can ask more open-ended questions.
Like what?
What kind of beers do you have on tap?
Yeah.
Or what sparkling wines do you have by the glass? Or even, do you have any daily drink specials?
Ah, good questions. Shows you're interested.
Exactly. They show you're engaged, interested in their offerings. Plus, it gives you valuable listening practice as the server describes the options.
Yeah.
You might also need to specify, as we said, still water, please, or sparkling water with lemon, please.
Okay, so drinks are sorted, you're settled in. Now, this is it, the moment of truth. The server comes back, usually after you've had a few minutes to look over the menu, enjoy your drinks.
The anticipation builds.
And they ask that pivotal question, "Are you ready to order?"
Dun-dun-D-U-N.
Haha. Okay, for your essential phrases for ordering directly, it's really all about politeness and clarity. You'll want to use phrases like, "I'd like the chicken sandwich," or "I'll have the salmon, please."
The magic words, "I'd like" or "I'll have."
These are really the gold standard for polite, clear ordering. Universally understood, universally appreciated.
And this brings us to that crucial common mistake that so many learners make, even advanced ones sometimes, saying, "I want the salmon."
Ah, yes, the "I want" trap.
Exactly. Now look, grammatically it's correct. It technically conveys your desire. But "I want" can sound a bit rude in English. a bit demanding, maybe even childish, almost like you're giving an order rather than making a polite request.
Yeah, it lacks that softening touch.
It does. Think about ordering coffee. You wouldn't typically walk up and say, I want a latte. You'd say, I'd like a latte. Or, could I have a latte? Or, I'll have a latte.
Right. Much more natural.
This is where I would like, almost always contracted to I'd like, or I will have, contracted to I'll have, become your linguistic best friends. These alternatives are just much more polite and natural sounding.
They signal politeness.
They convey a sense of choice, a gentle request, rather than a direct command or demand. And this really touches on that important question. How do these subtle linguistic politeness markers impact perception? In English-speaking cultures, especially in service interactions, politeness through these softened, indirect requests is really deeply ingrained.
It shows respect, right?
It shows respect for the server, for their role, for the service they're providing. And honestly, it just makes the whole interaction smoother and more pleasant for everyone involved. It's not just about grammar. It's about social grace. It's about cultural understanding. You're showing, the unspoken rules of interaction.
That's a huge, huge tip right there. Seriously, it makes all the difference in how you come across. Now, what if you're feeling a bit adventurous or you just can't decide from that big menu?
Happens all the time.
You can always ask for a recommendation. Phrases like, what do you recommend? Or maybe, what's the most popular dish? These are great openers.
This is a golden tip, truly. Asking for a recommendation. Fantastic way to engage with the server. You leverage their expertise, right?
Yeah.
They know the menu best.
True.
You might discover a house specialty you wouldn't have even considered. And again, it gives you valuable listening practice as they describe a few options. Plus, it shows you value their insight, which usually fosters a more positive interaction.
And if you like their suggestion.
You can say, oh, that sounds great, I'll have that. Simple. If it doesn't quite appeal to you, maybe they suggest the liver after all.
Right.
You can politely say, thank you, that sounds interesting, but I think I'll go with the other dish instead. No need for a long explanation, just a polite redirection. It makes you an active participant in the dining experience, not just a passive receiver.
Love that. Okay, super important topic. Safety first. Allergies, dietary restrictions.
Critical. Absolutely critical.
Not ever hesitate or feel embarrassed to ask about ingredients. This is non-negotiable. Your health is paramount. So you might ask, what's in the seafood pasta? Just to check. Or if you have an allergy, be very specific and clear. Does this dish contain nuts? I have a severe nut allergy. Or is this gluten-free? Or is this dish vegetarian or vegan?
And to expand on that, being very specific is key.
Yeah.
Don't just say, I have an allergy. Specify what allergy. Does this contain dairy if you're lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Is there any pork in this dish for religious or dietary reasons?
Be explicit.
Exactly. You might even need to ask about cross-contamination, depending on the severity. Is there a separate fryer for gluten-free items? Or is it possible to prepare this dish without butter? Most restaurants, especially these days, are trained to handle these questions, and they appreciate your clarity. It helps them help you safely.
That's reassuring. And what about customizing? Maybe you don't have an allergy, you just don't like onions.
Totally okay. Empower yourself to ask. It's perfectly fine to customize your dish within reason. Can I get the dressing on the side? That's a super common request for salads. Lets you control how much dressing you use.
Yeah, I ask that all the time.
Or could I have it without onions, please? Or maybe, can I substitute the fries for a side salad? Don't be afraid to make your meal perfect for you. Most restaurants are very accustomed to these requests, especially regarding dietary preferences or just simple dislikes.
Okay, so the big takeaway here. Your health is number one, and it's okay to ask for what you need or prefer. Let's put it all together. An example dialogue for ordering the main course. Let's see how seamless it can be, even with a few questions thrown in.
Let's do it. Scenario time.
Imagine you're with a friend, maybe at a busy American-style restaurant.
Okay.
The server comes over. Are you ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes? You could say, we're ready, thank you. I have a question about the spicy chicken burger. Is it very spicy? And also, can I get it without the special sauce?
Server. Okay, yeah, it has a good kick to it, but not overwhelmingly hot for most people.
Oh.
And yes, absolutely, we can definitely make it without the sauce. Would you like maybe a different sauce on the side instead, like mayo or ketchup?
No, just plain is fine, thank you. And my friend here is just wondering, does the Mediterranean salmon have any nuts in it? They have an allergy?
Server. Good question. Let me just double check that for you. Brief pause.
Okay.
Checked with the kitchen. No, it does not contain nuts. It's made with olives, tomatoes, capers, and herbs, and we can absolutely ensure it's prepared on a clean surface to avoid cross-contact.
Your friend. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for checking. I'll have the Mediterranean salmon cooked medium, please.
Server, excellent choice. Medium it is.
Great. And I'll have the spicy chicken burger without the sauce. Thanks.
Server. Okay, got it. So that's one spicy chicken burger, no sauce, and one Mediterranean salmon cooked medium, prepared with the nut allergy in mind. Perfect. Can I get anything else for you both right now?
You? That's all for now, thanks. See, notice how seamless and comprehensive that was. You asked questions, you clarified an allergy concern, you made a choice, you specified cooking temperature, and even confidently handled the allergy part for your friend.
Exactly. That's what we're aiming for. Confident, natural interaction that addresses all your needs without any fuss.
Okay, the food has arrived. It looks delicious. You're digging into that perfectly cooked main course. But the conversation isn't quite over yet. Dining out is interactive.
It is. There are a few more stages in the typical flow.
Let's move to phase 4. The check back is everything month. Okay, this is a very common practice, especially in North American restaurants, but you'll find it elsewhere too. Your server will usually return to your table a few minutes after your food's been served.
Just to make sure everything's all right?
Exactly. To make sure everything is satisfactory, it's their way of ensuring you're enjoying your meal and, importantly, addressing any issues promptly.
Right. So the server's typical questions here will be pretty direct. Things like, how is everything tasting? Or maybe, is everything all right with your meal? Or simply, are you enjoying your food?
Standard check-in questions.
Yeah. And these are opportunities for you to give feedback. Knowing they're likely coming allows you to prepare a quick response, whether it's positive or, something's not quite right.
So if everything is great, which we hope it usually is,
Fingers crossed.
you can respond simply and warmly. It's delicious, thank you. Or, everything is wonderful, thanks. A smile and maybe a brief positive comment like, this chicken is perfectly cooked, or we're really enjoying it. That's always appreciated. Makes the server's job more pleasant, too.
Absolutely. But, well, if there is a problem, sometimes things happen, even in the best places. Maybe your food is cold, or it's not what you ordered.
Right. How do you handle that politely?
It's important to address it politely, but also firmly. You don't need to be aggressive, but you do need to be clear about the issue. For example, you could catch their eye and say, "Excuse me."
Start politely.
Yes. "Excuse me, I'm sorry, but my soup is a bit cold." Or maybe, "Excuse me, I believe I ordered the chicken, but this looks like fish." Or perhaps, "Excuse me, the steak seems a bit overcooked for medium rare."
Okay, so, excuse me, and I'm sorry. Help soften it.
They do. Using phrases like, "Excuse me," and "I'm sorry, but," softens the complaint and opens the door for a solution. Even though the problem obviously isn't your fault, it just signals you're trying to resolve it collaboratively.
That makes sense. It avoids sounding accusatory.
Exactly. And this raises that interesting cultural point again. How do different cultures approach complaining or addressing problems in public? In some cultures, direct confrontation might be avoided entirely. Issues might be discussed quietly just among the diners, not with the staff.
Yeah, that varies a lot.
It does. But in many English-speaking cultures, particularly the US and UK, a polite but direct approach is usually expected, and it's the most effective way to get something fixed. Servers are generally trained to resolve issues. They want you to have a good experience. It reflects on them and the restaurant.
So find that balance. Polite but clear.
Precisely. Understanding that balance, being polite while still clearly stating the issue, prevents misunderstandings and ensures your problem gets resolved efficiently without causing unnecessary discomfort for anyone. You might follow up your statement with a suggested solution like, "Could I please have it warmed up?" Or, "Would it be possible to get the chicken I ordered instead?"
Okay, good strategies. So, you've navigated the main course, maybe had a small issue resolved smoothly. Now you're probably feeling pretty full. But there's always that question, isn't there?
The siren song of sugar.
That brings us to phase 5. The sweet decision dessert. Even if you're absolutely stuffed, it's a standard moment for a final offer from the server.
Right. After clearing your main course plates, your server will typically prompt you about dessert. They might ask something lighthearted like, "Did you save room for dessert?"
A classic line.
It is. Or maybe more formally. "Can I interest you in any dessert or coffee?" Or perhaps, "Would you care for anything else, like coffee, tea, after-dinner drinks?"
Okay, so if you are ready for that delicious chocolate cake you spotted earlier,
If you've strategically saved that tiny bit of room,
you can say, could we see the dessert menu, please? Or, if you already know what you want, maybe you saw it on the main menu or a display. We'll share the chocolate cake, please. Sharing is a great option, by the way. Lets you try something without committing to a whole portion. Perfectly common.
definitely. Or sometimes the server will just recite a list of the daily dessert specials. Tonight we have a creme brulee, a key lime pie, and our house-made tiramisu. So you need to listen carefully then.
Listen up for those specials. Now, quick tip. If you know you're absolutely stuffed, no way anything else is fitting,
You've hit your limit.
and you just want to wrap things up, this phrase is your express lane to departure. No thank you. Just the check, please.
Simple, polite, effective. Gets the message across clearly.
Believe me, I've used that phrase many, many times when my eyes were definitely bigger than my stomach.
Haven't we all?
Okay, we're nearing the end of our meal and nearing the end of our deep dive. You've enjoyed your food, perhaps indulged in some dessert, and now it's time for the final practical part settling up. This is phase 6, paying the bill check.
A final hurdle.
To request the bill, it's pretty straightforward. You usually need to get your server's attention politely first, catch their eye, maybe a slight hand wave if needed, and say, "Excuse me, could we have the check, please?"
Or, if you're in the UK or a place that uses British English,
Yeah.
excuse me, could we have the bill, please?
Right. Either works perfectly. Sometimes, if they approach your table and you're clearly finished, they might even ask you, "Are you ready for the check?" Or, "Can I get you the check?"
Mm-hmm. Now, this next point, we touched on it, but it's absolutely critical and, again, often a major source of confusion for international travelers. Asking about the tip or service charge.
Yeah, the tipping minefield.
It can feel like that. You can simply ask, is the service included? This straightforward question can save you from awkwardness, from accidentally over-tipping, or perhaps more importantly in some places, from unintentionally under-tipping, which can be seen as quite rude.
So just ask, is service included?
Exactly. And here's that critical cultural tip again, worth repeating. The stark difference between the U.S. and many parts of Europe, and indeed other parts of the world, regarding tipping culture.
Let's break it down clearly.
Okay. In the United States, a tip, typically between 15% and 20% of the total bill before tax, is almost never included in the price on the menu, and it is very much expected.
Expected, not optional.
Pretty much expected for standard service, yes. Servers' base wages are often legally allowed to be much lower than the general minimum wage, based on the explicit assumption that tips will make up the difference to a livable income. So if you don't tip, or tip very little, it's not just seen as rude, it can have a significant economic impact on your server.
Wow, okay. That's really important context.
It is. Now, this system has historical roots, some quite controversial, tied to post-Civil War America and ways to avoid paying fair wages. But regardless of its origins, it's the current system. So it's vital to understand and generally adhere to that 15–20% guideline for decent service.
Okay, U.S. tip 15–20%, expect to add it. What about Europe?
In many European countries, it's quite different. A service charge, often called servizio incluso in Italy or service compris in France, usually around 10–15%, is frequently already included on the bill. It will be listed as a line item.
So you have to check the bill carefully.
Absolutely. If service is included, you don't need to add an additional tip. If you receive truly exceptional service, you might leave a small extra amount, maybe round up the bill to the nearest convenient figure, but it's not expected in the same way as in the U.S.
In other places, Asia, for example.
Tipping culture varies wildly. In many East Asian cultures like Japan or China, tipping is not customary at all and can even be seen as confusing or potentially insulting, implying the service wasn't good enough to be included in the price. So the golden rule is, when in doubt, observe what locals do, or politely ask, is service included? Or even do a quick search beforehand about tipping customs in the specific country you're visiting.
Great advice. Always check the bill. Always be aware of local custom.
Exactly. It really raises that interesting question about economic and cultural expectations around service. Why do these systems differ so much? What does it tell us about how different societies value and compensate service labor? It's not just about the money, it's about understanding a fundamental part of the local economy and the social contract.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, practicalities of paying. What if you're dining with friends and you want to split the cost?
Very common scenario. You can ask, can we pay separately? Or, could you split the bill?
And they can usually do that.
Oh yeah, most restaurants are very accommodating, especially with modern point-of-sale systems. They can often divide payments by item, Or just split the total evenly among the number of guests paying. You can be specific. Could we split it evenly between 2 cards? Or if you want to pay for specific things, could you split it by item? I'll pay for my burger and salad, and my friend will pay for their salmon and appetizer.
Okay, good to know they can handle that. Let's run through a final dialogue example, bringing it all together for the payment and the farewell, making sure it's a smooth and appreciative exit.
All right, final scene.
You finished your meal, maybe your coffee, you're ready to leave, you signal the server. Excuse me, can we have the check, please?
Server, of course. Right away. Here you are. Are you paying together today?
You. No, actually, could we split it? I'll pay for my meal and my friend will pay for theirs.
Server. Certainly no problem at all. Let me just separate those.
Okay.
And just to confirm, service is not included on this bill.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. We'll both pay by card, please.
Server.
Oh.
No problem at all. I can take those whenever you're ready. Server processes payments. All right, you're all set.
Great. Everything was wonderful. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed the meal.
Server. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure having you both. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you. Good night. So, what does this all mean? That was a seamless, polite, fully understood exit. You handled splitting the bill, confirmed the tip situation, and even gave a nice compliment. You expressed appreciation for the meal and the service.
Exactly. You've completed the entire dining cycle in English, confidently and politely. That's a huge win. Feels good, right?
Definitely feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now for maybe the fun part for some, refining those sounds. So you can speak with even more clarity and confidence. We've got a little pronunciation gym for you, focusing on words that often trip up English learners, specifically in a restaurant setting.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how these small shifts in pronunciation can make such a big difference. Not just in clarity, so people understand you easily, but also crucially, in your own confidence.
Less self-conscious.
Exactly. Mispronouncing a key word can sometimes lead to misunderstanding, sure, but more often, it just makes you feel less natural or less sure of yourself. Mastering these common sounds helps you feel more comfortable, more like you belong in the conversation.
Okay, let's tackle some of these tricky words. First up, the classic we mentioned earlier, dessert versus desert. Spelled almost the same, one extra "es," but miles apart in meaning and sound.
The secret, as we hinted, is all in the syllable stress. And it's a vital distinction if you want cake instead of sand.
Definitely want the cake. How do we pronounce it?
Okay, for dessert, the sweet course after a meal, the stress is firmly on the second syllable. Dessert. Hear that zzz sound and the emphasis on the second part. Dessert. Imagine you're lingering on that sweet, delicious sound.
Dessert. Got it. Like you deserve it.
Maybe. Now, for desert, the dry, sandy landscape, the stress is on the first syllable. De-zert. De-zert. It also has 2 syllables, but that initial punch, that emphasis on the de, makes all the difference.
I can dessert.
Okay, so practice this little sentence. I want dessert, not a desert. Say it out loud a few times.
Yeah.
Focus on where you put that stress. Dessert. Desert. It's key.
Okay, practice that one. What's next?
Next, a word that often trips people up, even though it's a super common food. Salmon. The fish.
Yeah, the tricky L.
Exactly. Many people instinctively want to pronounce that L right in the middle, salmon, but it's completely silent. You pronounce it just like isan.
Esiman. No L sound at all.
None. Think of it like salmon, with the stress on that first syllable, S-E-mon. It's one of those sneaky silent letters in English, like the K in knife or the P in psychology. Once you know the L is silent, you'll never forget it.
Salmon. Got it. Good one. Next.
How about vegetable? This word looks like it should have 4 syllables. Vegetable.
Looks like it, yeah.
But in common, natural English speech, it's almost always pronounced with only 3 syllables, and sometimes even squished into 2 very quickly.
Really? How does that work?
It's usually pronounced like V-E-G-J to bool. V-E-G-J to bool. That middle E and A sound kind of get squeezed together or almost disappear entirely.
B-E-D-J to bool. 3 syllables.
Exactly. And in a faster, more casual speech, it might even sound closer to VJ to bool. This kind of vowel reduction and syllable compression is super common in spoken English. Mastering it makes your speech sound much more natural, much more fluid.
Vegetable. Okay, practicing that too. What else?
And finally, a word you'll use constantly, water. This one's interesting because it has common regional variations, but both are perfectly acceptable and widely understood.
The American versus British T sound.
Pretty much.
Cute.
In standard American pronunciation, that T in the middle often sounds like a soft D. It's technically called a flapped T, a quick flap of the tongue against the roof of the mouth. So it sounds like veggie-ator, almost rhyming with ladder or daughter. Beiji, Ader. This is very common across North America.
W-A Ader. Okay, the American way.
Whereas in standard British pronunciation and some other regions, that T is often more marked, more distinct. It's pronounced closer to wata, with a clear T sound and often what's called a non-rhotic R at the end, meaning the R sound isn't really pronounced. Wata.
Watata. More clipped T.
Exactly. But honestly, both are perfectly fine. Choose the one you prefer, or maybe the one you hear most often where you live or where you're traveling. The most important thing always is just being understood. Don't stress too much about which accent is right.
Good advice. Water, water, both work.
Now, the theory is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Knowing these rules is great, but practice. Practice is truly what leads to mastery.
Gotta use it or lose it.
Exactly. Knowing these pronunciation nuances in your head is one thing. Making them automatic, making them effortless in your actual speech, that's another level. It's really about building muscle memory for your mouth, your tongue, your lips.
So how can listeners practice?
Well, we really encourage you to take some actionable steps. First, try role-playing at home. Seriously. Grab an online menu from an international restaurant. You can find hundreds with a quick search. Anything from a local cafe menu to a fancy steakhouse.
Find a menu online. Okay.
And then practice ordering aloud. Don't be shy. Say the phrases we talked about. Can I have? Pronounce the food words. Even better.
Yeah.
Ask a friend or a family member to be the server. Have a mock conversation back and forth.
Make it interactive.
Yeah. Practice ordering for everyone at the imaginary table. Practice asking questions about ingredients. Practice politely complaining if your imaginary soup is cold. This helps build that muscle memory for both your mouth and your brain. It makes the real situation feel much less daunting when you've already rehearsed it.
That's a great idea. Role-playing. What else?
And another fantastic tip is to watch series and films in English. Pay close attention to scenes set in restaurants or cafes. You'll hear all these phrases used naturally in different contexts with different levels of formality, various tones of voice.
Real-world examples.
Exactly. Pause the show. Repeat the phrases the characters use. Try to mimic their intonation, their speed, even their facial expressions if you want. It's a fantastic way to absorb natural conversational patterns almost subconsciously without feeling like you're actively studying. Look for scenes in shows like, I don't know, Friends, Seinfeld, maybe British dramas or comedies often have pub or restaurant scenes.
Good passive learning technique.
And finally, we also want to hear from you. We really do. We love hearing your stories and your thoughts. So tell us, what's your favorite food to order in a restaurant? Tell us in English. You could say, for example, my favorite food to order is definitely a classic margarita pizza with extra basil.
Ooh, good choice.
Or, what's your biggest fear or challenge when ordering food in English? Is it the pronunciation? Understanding the server when they speak quickly? Worrying about allergies? Let us know.
Share your experiences.
And please, share a story. Funny or maybe slightly embarrassing or just interesting. A restaurant experience you've had abroad while using English. We've all got one, right? Some misunderstanding or triumph.
Absolutely. We've all been there. So what does this all mean for your next meal out? We've really gone from potential menu panic,
That deer in headlights feeling.
right, to hopefully confident ordering. You now have the essential vocabulary. You've got the step-by-step guide to navigate the entire dining experience from walking in the door to paying the check. And you've got those crucial cultural insights, especially around things like tipping and some pronunciation tips to practice. The goal is to make your next dining experience in English not just successful, getting fed, but genuinely enjoyable. It's about more than just the food. It really is about connection.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's just so clear that language is a gateway, isn't it? Mastering these practical, everyday interactions like ordering food.
Yeah.
It doesn't just feed your body, it nourishes your curiosity.
Yeah, I like that. Nourishes your curiosity.
It opens doors to new experiences, new flavors, new people. It deepens your connection with different cultures.
Right.
And honestly, it builds your overall confidence, which can spill over into so many other areas of your life and your language learning.
Definitely a confidence booster.
So remember, every meal is a new chance to learn, a new chance to practice. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate those small victories. Even just getting a glass of water ordered correctly and confidently is a win. And most importantly, try to enjoy the food and the whole experience. Don't let a fear of making a mistake stand between you and a delicious meal or a really memorable cultural moment.
Fantastic advice. We really hope this deep dive helps you transform your next restaurant visit into a truly delicious linguistic adventure. Until next time.
Bon appétit.